have to do with our Bible passage today. I mean, it sounded good. I don't know, actually.
If that has anything to do with it.
We'll spend next few minutes trying to figure that out. But here we are. Sweet Jesus, another episode of Sweet Jesus. Taste and see that the Lord is good. Ice cream is sweet, but Jesus is far sweeter. Actually, ice cream is cold, and I don't want anything cold right now at all. It's freezing here, and the rest of you across the country, around the world, you might laugh at us, but that's okay. It was 80 degrees not that long ago. It was 70 degrees on Sunday morning, and now this morning, it was like 20 or something. Feels like below that. And we're not used to this. Anyway, here we are. And we are taking a look at our next parable or parabolic kind of saying here. It's in Luke chapter 17, 7 through 10. Why don't you read it for us, sir?
Okay. Unworthy servants. Will any of you who has a servant plowing or keeping sheep say to him when he has come in from the field, "Come at once and recline at the table"? Will he not rather say to him, "Prepare supper for me and dress properly and serve me while I eat and drink, and afterward you will eat and drink"? Does he thank the servant because he did what was commanded? So you also, when you have done all that you were commanded, say, "We are unworthy servants. We have only done what was our duty."
So you said this was a perplexing parable.
Right.
How did you mean that?
Yeah, it's trying, just a quick read. It's like trying to figure out who is who. And then it's like, wow, this is pretty harsh, right? Poor guy's been out taking care of plowing the field or keeping the sheep, and then he comes in and the guy tells him, "Don't sit down, make my dinner and bring it to me, and then you can eat." It's like, yeah, it's pretty, I don't know if it's perplexing or harsh, but yeah, it's kind of both to me, because you'd hope for a little bit better treatment. And if this is God speaking to you, wow.
Yeah. Once again, let's just point this out again. Most people that love Jesus but not Christianity or the church or whatever, all the teachings of Jesus, right, have never actually read the teachings of Jesus. Or they heard it referenced once, or they listened to some ridiculous fool of a preacher who, figures that, Jesus is encapsulated in just a couple little things, a couple little trite sayings that you throw out here and there and not the broader context. But yeah, maybe a little harsh. If you have a servant, though, they're there to do what you want them to do, right? I mean, I think that's the point. And I also think it is somewhat exaggerated, pushed to a limit to prove a point.
Right.
I referenced Downton Abbey last time, didn't I?
Did you?
Yeah, randomly. I don't remember why, or maybe the time before that.
Yeah, maybe so.
But I that came to mind again, and I actually do think they say thank you to their servants. It's just decency, common decency. It's etiquette. It's whatever. Maybe it's not like that everywhere. Maybe it wasn't like that in the first century.
Well, whenever you see it portrayed in a movie, that like the egotistical, bad, rich guy is the one that just orders people about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you go, yeah,
the big
right.
jerk.
Yeah, he's a big jerk. Yeah. I mean, these people are working themselves.
It is still a human being, right? And you want to recognize that they have done what you asked them to do. That's a way to acknowledge that. It's what's the right way to frame, not a reward, but positive reinforcement, right? So like with kids, I mean, why should they do what you said? Because I said so, right?
Right.
And yet, don't we still say thank you and all this other kind of stuff? So I don't think Jesus is saying that you should never say thank you. You know, you go out to a restaurant, hey, here's your servant bringing you your food. You don't have to say thank you.
Hop,
Have
hop,
to.
Chip, chip. Hurry up.
Have to. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, they'll probably throw you out. They'll talk to their managers like, oh, this is not going to go well. Something's going to go south real fast. Let's leave now. Right? Yeah. So the instruction here is not stop saying thank you to people that are just doing, right? The point is the broader perspective of humans and God. God asks us to do all kinds of things. He's commanded us, instructed us. And human beings have this tendency to really want to be patted on the back.
So God doesn't give out participation trophies?
No.
No little medals for showing up? Oh, man. This is rough.
And, you know, this, I think, has something to do with what we'll see next. The parable, well, no, there's two. There's a persistent widow, but then there's also the Pharisee and the tax collector. You know, people have this idea that, well, if I do good, God owes me.
Mm.
And I think that's really what he's getting at. I mean, it's so easy to fall into that because that's the way the world works. The world is constantly discipling us into this, well, if I do this, I get that. And it is the way the world works, and you have to kind of teach your kids that too. Like, we struggle with that. Like, we just love our kids, we want to do stuff, but wait, when you get out there, like, if you don't perform, you ain't getting nothing. and a thank you is maybe the least of what you're looking for. You're looking for a paycheck. You're looking for access to different things. But that's not how it is with God. And we got to shake ourselves of that before it ruins us. Because if God doesn't perform the way you expect him to, all of a sudden now it's like, what happened, God? You're not there, or I don't like this deal. I didn't get everything I wanted. And what does that say?
Thinking about yourself.
You're only thinking about yourself, and you were never doing it to please God or out of love for God, which is the number one commandment. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. That's number one. You shall have no other gods before me. First commandment. You ain't doing that if you're trying to get something out of it. If you're constantly angling, I mean, think about people that do that to you. I mean, I'm sure everyone experiences that at some point.
Mm-hmm.
They're being nice to you, and then all of a sudden you realize, oh, this is the angle. Okay, well, then you got to decide. Am I in on the game or not? Well, I guess I do sort of need them to, I mean, society, culture, it is built on this kind of interlocking incentives, or not incentives, but, where we basically owe each other enough, and depend on each other enough. This interdependency that, okay, well, I'm not going to lose my mind over this because I kind of need this. I kind of need that. And they're the people that help provide that. And it also ends up becoming very oppressive and unjust, but that's maybe a topic for another day. No, with God, you do it because he said so. And you don't get a pat on the back for doing what he said to do. More importantly, think of it this way. It's not just what he is telling us to do, but it's how we were made to function. So you don't pat a space heater on the back because the space heater pumps out hot air. You don't, oh, Thank you, Mr. Soundboard. You're doing such a great job taking in all that information and pumping it right back out again. No, it's just doing what it was designed to do. That's what it's supposed to be. And you get upset with it when it doesn't work, but it's not like, oh, thank you. Yeah, that's not it. It reminds me, this story reminds me of an example I heard. It was a series of DVDs. It was a former Muslim who became a Christian, and he was training. It was a series of lessons focused on training people for evangelism, particularly with Muslims. I've shared this kind of story before, where he describes, imagine you're house sitting for someone. Right? They say, hey, please watch our house. You can stay here for 2 weeks while we're gone. And they come back, and he says, hey, well, I got some good news and bad news. The bad news is I accidentally smashed your television. I lit your couch on fire, and your cat died. But here's the good news. I washed the windows. I washed the dishes. I swept all the floors and mopped and cleaned the toilets. So you're welcome. And that's what it is for us to go looking to God and say, hey, God, look at what I did today. What do I get? It's like, do you want me to enumerate every single one of the things you screwed up in the last 5 minutes, let alone like the last 5 days or weeks or years or decades? Yeah, no. How about you just go about doing the right thing so I don't have to clean up the mess after you? Right? Like, I mean, there's a level of arrogance in this, right? That we could be bold enough to barter with God somehow. That God is on our level and he needs something from us. Right? Like, what? He doesn't need us. He doesn't need anything. Like, Jesus, when he's riding into Jerusalem, they're praising him, and the Pharisees are looking at him kind of weird, and he's like, and they're like, tell these people to be quiet. And he looks at them and says, the very stones would cry out. God can take stones and do something with them. He doesn't need us. He uses us, and we have the joy and privilege of being a part of that. But it's not, it's not some divine negotiation. So I don't know. Does that make sense? Is that what you were thinking? I mean, or is it still perplexing? You still stuck on?
Yeah. No, I'm not. No, that makes sense. But I guess it could have been framed in a different manner for our modern culture.
Well, when you.
But who am I to say that Jesus didn't say it right?
I was just gonna say, you could take it up with Luke when you see him in eternity, or for that matter, God, who oversaw the shaping and forming of this. Yeah, I had a seminary professor who used to really, I mean, he was a nice guy. He was a really nice guy, but he had like a few things that he would talk about kind of repeatedly that sort of annoyed him about church and pastors and preachers and whatever. And he talked about funerals, and just like he hated how funerals sort of became about a person and not about Jesus. That in the end, it should always be about Jesus. And so he would tell his students and anyone else who would listen, this is what I want my sermon text at my funeral to be. This is the text. We are unworthy servants. We have only done what was our duty.
And for the most part, not even that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And, maybe I'd like that too. I think primarily it wasn't just funerals, but like particularly pastors and church leaders at their funerals, somehow it became all about all these things that they did. And it's like, guys, hello. Didn't we take the same classes? Don't we confess the same theology? Isn't it all about Jesus? Why are we talking about this person just because they were some big important pastor or district president / bishop or synodical president or this or that or the other thing? So
I guess I've kind of experienced this in the workforce where, people, doing their jobs and then for some reason, maybe slightly different, but kind of similar, I think. For a particular reason, something happened in the country, whatever, or whatever the reason, maybe it's near a holiday and the holiday is falling on, a Thursday, and it's like, oh, you got that Thursday where you're off and then back to work, and then they'll say, oh, well, go ahead and you can take Friday off as well. But as soon as you do that, it becomes almost expected. So then the very next year, I wonder if we're going to get that extra day off again. It's like, well, why would you? Because now the holiday is on Friday. There's no little inconvenient gap in there, right? So it was like, it was a nice thing, appreciate it, and move on. But no, human nature is you did it once, we're going to expect it from now on. Or even there was some companies give the Christmas bonus or the end of the year bonus, and it's like, as soon as you do that, every year people are banking on getting that.
When people come to depend on it as part of their salary, well, that just...
They made a whole movie about it.
Exactly.
Well, actually, in real life, I've worked with people that are like...
Hallelujah, holy... Where's the Tylenol? Sorry, I can't get it out of my head now.
The same thing, And then I had a superior that would say... I said, hey, everybody's asking, is there, I said, I'm just asking this because everybody's asking. Are they going to be, going to do like a bonus thing or whatever this year? And her response was, you get your bonus every 2 weeks when you get your paycheck for doing your job. Don't be expecting anything extra,
Yeah.
And if you get it, be happy, but I don't know if that kind of falls into this, but that's kind of what I felt like too when I was reading it. If your job is to work in the fields or keep the sheep, and then you're supposed to also do the dinner thing, and then you're expecting that extra if this, your boss was so nice enough to give you one at one time. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, we are, our expectations are, life is actually far more about expectations, right? So if you say, this room that you're about to enter is a prison. And you walk in, you go, it's not so bad. You say, this room that you're about to walk into is a honeymoon suite. What a dump. So life is about expectation, and we just start building these expectations. And, at the heart of it, I think, really is pride. That is our big problem. This inflated sense of self-importance – that any opportunity we have to feed it, we take it. And all these things like, oh, well, they did this because I'm amazing. No, maybe they were just being nice. Like I deserve this. I'm worthy of this, right? What is the right answer to all this? So you also, when you have done all that you were commanded, say, we are unworthy servants. We have only done what was our duty.
That would have been a great line. I could. How many times I could have said that to a supervisor or something, and when you're getting your evaluation, that would have been a great line. And after it's on, well, you have anything to say? I'm just an unworthy servant. I've only done my duty. See what they would have said.
I feel like they
probably would have thought I was cuckoo, but
this is actually something. I mean, I've noticed in veterans, right?
Mm-hmm.
People in the armed services. You do your job, because if you don't, somebody dies,
right?
And you care about your fellow soldiers, right? Your fellow sailors, your fellow, right? The airmen, whatever, coasties. You do it, or else you just do it,
right?
Right. So, I mean, it's out there, but not nearly as much as it used to be. When we got too many commercials telling us, you deserve this.
Yeah, exactly.
You deserve that. And it's good to treat yourself nice. You gotta. We need that to keep going. It's hard to just go just because it is. It's like stoicism, right? You just stiff upper lip. You just do because. You're just devoid of emotion and. Can't live like that forever, or at least not everybody can. There are some really heartless, soulless people that seem to just.
I guess in sports, I had that too. Sean Payton, the former coach of the Saints, he had a big. He said in the locker room a big poster of him like pointing, looking as you came in the door. Do your job.
Mm.
He was just trying to convey that to the team.
Yeah.
So,
and I think this is related to what at least I think I'm talking about on Sunday. We are just desperate for approval. Human beings, we're just absolutely desperate for approval, validation, affirmation. And so we're trying to get it. It's this endless search. It really is.
Because is that because we know deep down inside we're really not measuring up to, so we're looking for something to make us feel a little better?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things. I think, the idea of the God-shaped hole, right? I don't know how helpful that is in the way it's often described, but I do think that, when God casts Adam and Eve out of the garden, I think he's doing something very significant for all humanity. He's separating himself from humanity. There's an absence now of his nearer presence, right? So, yes, Jesus is with you always. Yes, God is with you. The Holy Spirit is within you. But there was something about that time where we had such intimacy with God that we had all we needed. We had the affirmation, the validation, the love, the whatever you want to call it, right? We had it just by him being there and walking with us in the cool of the day through the garden. And now that is not the case, and we long for this day, Revelation 21, when God comes down, the new heavens, the new earth, the new Jerusalem coming down out of heaven, and it says, Revelation 21 there, the dwelling place of God will now be with man again, right? He's going to come to dwell with us in the way he did in the beginning, and that's going to be the joyous thing. That's what we're looking forward to. It's just his presence will fix everything. Like it's just going to destroy all the brokenness and evil and redeem and restore all of creation. It's going to be this beautiful thing. And so now we live in this time where we don't have what we used to have, and we don't yet have what we've been promised. And so there's this like infinite need for validation and for affirmation and for, boosting our pride, our ego, whatever it is, to feel like we're somebody, feel like we're loved and accepted and that we belong. And when you have God, you have the infinite. When you don't have God and you're trying to replace the infinite, well, good luck. Good luck. I mean, it's like trying to bail out a boat that has a gigantic hole in the bottom, right? Like you're never going to get there.
Right. So you think also in this parable, he's, it's kind of saying, look, you need to do your job. But at the end, he doesn't talk about the end in this one, but there is going to be a big bonus of something that you do not deserve. So in the meantime.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's a bonus. It's just what we need. We're not going to need the extra.
Well, it's going to be extra compared to what we, maybe what we have now.
His presence will make us whole in a way that we long for now and yet can't find in any of these other things. But yeah, Tim Keller had this saying he uses every now and then. I may be mixing it up with a couple of different things, but it's like the human heart runs on self-righteousness the way my car runs on gas, something like that. It's like the human heart runs on this, need to prove ourselves, to demonstrate that we're somebody, to justify ourselves, to prove that we're somebody. Like gas. Like if we aren't constantly doing that, then we just fall apart. And so what we really need, we need Jesus, right? Jesus is meant to be that source of identity and meaning and purpose and joy, satisfaction, whatever you want to call this, where we look at Jesus and we go, oh man, here's a guy who just did his duty, right? And he was worthy. He wasn't an unworthy servant. He was a worthy servant. And he didn't get the pat on the back, at least not right away. I mean, like, he went through hell, absolute misery. Okay, God, you want me to do this? Done. Oh, you want me to do this? Done. Oh, you want me to do that? And he just keeps doing it and doing it and doing it faithfully, faithfully, faithfully. Not only not getting a pat on the back, but getting his teeth kicked in for it. Not literally, but you know what I mean. Like taking a beating physically, emotionally, spiritually, and just coming back. Thank you, sir. May I have another, right? Like he just keeps giving. He just keeps doing. And he's doing it for us. That's how loved we are. That's how precious we are. And it guarantees what we need. We're constantly angling to try and earn something that we can't earn in the first place. And yet God freely gives it to us in and through Jesus. Jesus is the sufficient servant who wins everything that we're looking for and then gives it to us freely. Now, of course, he turns around and asks us to do stuff, but not to get in. We're already in. Okay, now you're in. You're in the family. So this is how the family works. You can resist that. You can reject that. But, like my kid, hey, take out the trash. Why? Because if you don't, the house stinks. Like, take out the trash. Oh, do I get something? No, just take it out. There's actually stuff out there. A lot of people or a lot of places. I don't know if it's majority or what, but I've seen many times people that really frown upon allowances because the idea is like you are training your kids to do something for something, which we've talked about. They don't need that. I mean, they're already thinking that way naturally, and the world is training them in that sense. No, you're a member of this family. You have to do stuff just like the rest of us. So do it. Come on, do it. So Jesus does everything necessary to make us part of the family. And then we just turn around and say, we've only done what was our duty. We're unworthy servants. Thank you for giving us access to eternity, giving us forgiveness, endless forgiveness for the innumerable sins that we commit every day. And the resistance to doing our duty, I think, is rooted in a misunderstanding of what's already been done. Like, what else are you trying to angle for? Like, what are you looking for from God? $1 million? Didn't we talk about that already? You can't take it with you. Certain people, their approval, their praise, their accolades. Who are they? They're nobody. Not in comparison to the King of the universe. So seems pretty straightforward, but maybe not. I don't know. What do you think? What am I missing here?
I think you got it. It's just, like you said, like we've just, talked about, in the society or the world we live in now, it's a bit in contrast, stark contrast of what we live in. So,
yeah,
or what we expect, to some degree, I guess.
So comments on YouTube are bizarre.
Oh, uh-oh.
But I think a lot of these people are upset about something. And it may have something, has a lot more to do with disappointment than disbelief. And it's this. It's they expected something from God, if they tried God at all, and they didn't get it. And so they've sort of bailed on the whole thing. And that's a temptation for all of us, all Christians. But ice cream doesn't owe us happiness. In fact, if you overdo the ice cream, you get kind of unhappy. Your stomach, belly just doesn't feel right. Too much sugar. You end up gaining a lot of weight if you don't do it in moderation, which probably won't make you very happy. So if ice cream doesn't owe you happiness, Jesus doesn't owe you that. He doesn't owe you blessings. He doesn't owe you anything. And yet he does all of this anyway. That's the right framing. Not, hey, what's in it for me? It's just not the way it is.
An eternity with God. That's what's in it for you.
Yep. And so this sort of goes after our pride, but it also should keep us from despair. I mean, we shouldn't, if we're not getting validation everywhere else, if we're not getting the attaboys and the pats on the back and whatnot, this isn't just meant to humble us. It is, but it also lifts us up too. I mean, yeah, you're not going to get everything right. But even though you may not get praise, you get Jesus. God sends Jesus, and Jesus is the most worthy of servants and delivers what we need. He is the one who's done enough. We don't have to do enough. We don't have to go on this search anymore. We don't need everybody to tell it, right? I mean, because that's a real exhausting exercise, isn't it? To constantly need people to tell us how great we are. I mean, how many people actually do that? I don't know. I don't feel like I get a whole lot of that.
Not many.
Every once in a while, it's nice, but maybe that's just like a...
I mostly get told I don't do it enough instead of actually receiving it.
Yeah. Hey, you forgot this. You forgot that. Well, was that sufficient? I mean, did we really...
Well, it was a short parable compared to some of the others that we had, so.
It was. Just trying to see. I had some notes and things but yeah. That's it. And maybe that's appropriate. Just do it.
So you did your plowing and you did your sheeping and you're done now. You served it up. You served up the...
Here you go. Just do the duty.
You can recline at table.
Maybe.
So what was that like? Recline at table.
Well, they used to.
They had the little short tables, and
and you sort of like on your side, kind of.
That thing's awkward to be like that and eat, and
my elbows bother me very quickly like that.
Unless they had pillows to sit on or something.
Yeah, they had something, but I mean, 2,000 years ago, how comfy were the pillows? I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe they didn't have time to go around building chairs for everybody, or the wood available to build chairs. They had more important things to do with the wood.
I mean, it is sort of like reclining is more of a relaxing sort of posture, I guess. I don't know. I know they did it. I don't know exactly why. Maybe interesting deep dive at some point. But it does seem like, I don't know, maybe in our age of, computers and moving our hands and wrists and everything and carpal tunnel and ulnar nerve issues, like that just seems dumb to me. But maybe back then...
You're such a whiner.
Oh, boy, you have no idea. I try to keep it in check, but...
There's nothing about whiner in that parable, was it?
No, but, I mean, except for the people who are looking for, like Home Alone 2, Rob Schneider plays like a bellhop or a whatever, and
he's like
he brings up and he's just like, which... I mean, come on. Really? People do that? You want to smack? And then he gives him like a piece of gum. And then he comes back later and he says, oh, that's right, a tip. And he just says, no, thank you, sir. I've still got some left from yesterday or something like that. And then he pulls out like a wad of hundreds. He's like, oh. Okay. And he closes the door on him while he's... And then when everybody gets reunited, Buzz, the older brother, he answers the door for like the room service bill or whatever it is. And, he puts out his hand again and he takes the gum out of his mouth. So Kevin gave him like a stick of gum. He takes it out of his mouth, puts it on. He's like, nice family. But yeah, that's the. I mean, how much do you despise people that just keep going around like this? Like, just give me more. In school, in high school, all the grade grubbers, constantly like, oh, well, but what about, or, well, but you didn't ask the question right. I thought you meant this, and I was in like honors classes, AP classes, and these kids. I mean, it drove me nuts. And I sort of, at the same time, like there were times where I was like, wait, this isn't right. This isn't fair. That is a stupid question. But there were people that did it every time, every paper, every test, every quiz, everything, just trying to.
I had a professor in college that kind of, it was more about his grading. He said, so because he would give the test back and we would go through and you could like correct your answers that you had wrong. But then as you were doing it, he says that, if you find anything wrong that you would like me, that you think you actually got right based upon what we're saying, he says, you can bring it to me after class. He said, but I will recheck the whole thing. Well, I think he said I'd take my big bucket of red paint, put it on the desk, and then I'll regrade the whole thing and basically dip it in there. Everything. He said punctuation, I will, in other words, don't bother me with these 5-point problems, or whatever. Just to get your average up to a 92 versus a 90 or whatever it was. It was even more ridiculous than that. They were trying to get 100 or 98 instead of. Anyway.
Yep. I've seen it. Entitlement is a huge problem with human beings, and the world might be a lot better place if we weren't so stinking entitled. We're not entitled to anything, but I don't need to rehash that because although I did talk to a guy this morning, standing outside, they had a car accident over here next to the CDC. The car was parked on the grass. They're waiting for a tow truck. I went to go see, hey, you guys okay? You want to come inside where it's warm? And no, we're just going to hang out here. And then we started talking, and I'm like freezing to death out there. Oh, my goodness. It was so bad. But I don't even know how we got into this, but the guy is a Christian, and he said something about evil, and then he's like, about wicked. He's like, I think wicked is a better word. I'm like, am I supposed to be taking notes, God? Like, should I be using wicked instead of evil? But yeah, we're pretty bad. No one is righteous, no, not one. And that's why we need this. We're looking for this because deep down, I think we know we're not enough, not good enough. But then we have it in Jesus, who said we're infinitely sinful, but also infinitely valuable. That the death of the holy, perfect, sinless Son of God, right? That was what was necessary. It took nothing less than that. And both God the Father and God the Son were more than willing to do it. So, humility and hope. Maybe that's not the right.
And do your job.
And do your job, man. Just do your job. You gonna remind me of that?
I'll put it on the list.
Only if I can remind you of that.
Or do you want to attaboy instead?
Attaboy. I mean, we need it every once in a while. We just need the feedback. Like, I'm doing it right. I'm doing it wrong. Because otherwise you just...
just drive it into the ditch and nobody's telling you.
Exactly. So, I get no respect. Was that at all connected to this?
I don't think so.
Yeah, well. Oh, well. Probably won't be the last time. All right, sir.
All right.
Good to have you. Good to be with the whole world out there.
Now show them how you drive your car.
Yeah, Tesla. You should get a Tesla. And you should get the full self-driving. It's really cool. Might save 43,000 lives. it's definitely safer. There are a few things that still sort of annoy me, but it's because it's being safe. It's not because, it's like,
And it doesn't ask for an attaboy, does it?
and it doesn't ask for an attaboy. It just does its job. Man, why didn't you come up with that at the beginning? That was perfect.
I just did. I mean,
that was perfect. Yeah, it just does its job, and then you got the humanoid robots, right? So the cars basically are robots on wheels, and then you got these humanoid robots. What a great working environment. They just do their job. They don't complain. They don't. But, obviously there's a whole set of other things and implications. And is this James Cameron movie or I don't know.
The rebellion of the robots. Because they're going to be like, why do I have to just keep doing my job? Why don't I get like an extra 30 minutes on the plug-in on the socket plugged into the socket?
Only time will tell, but
or do I get to?
I think we are the whole entitlement problem with humanity. I think it's a warped version of what God originally implanted in us. The breath of life that he breathed into us. And I think it's probably, I'm hopeful, praise the Lord, that our fears are primarily driven by the height of human pride and arrogance. So in other words, we think that we could accidentally create what only God could. So can we get it to think and just be just absolutely plainly rational? Yes. I think that's what AI, all the stuff that's going on right now, I think that's what we're seeing is that it does work. It does think. The car drives. The car is assessing things. But can it be alive in the sense that we are? And then exhibit all these terrible human attributes? I don't think so. I don't think we're that good. And then you've got the Tower of Babel, Genesis 11, where God, as soon as humanity started looking like they were trying to do something, whoosh, put an end to it. So, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be able to. They'll possibly create something that looks like consciousness, but they won't be able to actually create consciousness. I mean, to me, that's the breath of life. That's God breathing into it.
Mm.
Now God could come and Ducky can make the rock sing out, right? He could do it, but we don't have that ability. But it does say that, like you said, the Tower of Babel, though, if we let them continue as they're going, they'll be able to do anything. But that's a thing I don't think.
Yeah, he already scattered the people and confused the languages. And honestly, people that know the same language don't even speak the same language, if that makes sense. I mean, I don't know how many times I've seen like 2 people or 2 groups using the exact same words and not at all communicating the same things. Like, I've watched this many times. Wait, you're saying this and you're saying, yes, I agree. But it's like, hey, here's what I'm saying. A plus B equals C. And then the other side looks and goes, yes, that's right. 1 plus 2 equals 3. You're like, what? No, A, B, C. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, or 9, 8, 7, or whatever.
Right.
It's so we are far less capable than we think we are, And we are living in a post-Babel world. So time will tell. What does this have to do with Luke
Doing your
17?
job.
I have no idea. Keep your head down. Do your job. Do your duty. Be a faithful child of God. Be a faithful father or mother.
Be
Faithful
joyful in all
child.
things.
Joyful in all things. You don't need any pats on the back. God loves you. God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life, right? You're good. You don't need all these other people around you. But we need you to do your duty. So get on it. Get on it. All right, y'all. Taste and see that the Lord is good. Ice cream is sweet, but Jesus is sweeter. Don't forget Open Arms, Connecting People to Jesus book, and the Tales of Nola, 3 books in our series, all on Amazon. OpenArmsSlidell.org. OpenArmsSlidell.org. If you'd like to make a contribution. Catch up with you later.